Good evening, friends, and welcome back to Live Reality Games, the network of creators making our favorite shows into our reality. I'm your host, Kirk, and today we are here to talk everything that just went down in Survivor 41's episode 8. And like always, this is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, head over, watch the episode however you can. But first, support our podcasters by hitting that subscribe button, like button, notification bell. And nowadays, today is our first day. If I'm correct, we're also on Twitter and maybe even Twitch. So I don't know, we're everywhere. So yay to us. With us this week for the takeover is one of the longest running continuous live reality games, Survivor live reality games of them all. In my opinion, it's one of the toughest out there to not only play, but to especially win. We are here with representatives from Surviving Reelfoot. First off, I got to start with a man I know personally from a different Survivor adventure called a Pirate Booty Camp. We just talked about it a few weeks ago. And the man, the myth, the legend, and one of the tell me more about your role with Surviving Reelfoot, Pete, but welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for asking me. So, Reelfoot kind of went in a little bit different direction last year. We took a little bit more of a legal turn, and Parker and Amos and I are the three co-owners of that now, and we developed a LLC. We have an attorney on staff that works with us. We have to do our taxes. We have to file taxes every year. It just took a legal turn because the game's gotten so big, and in the world we live in, we just needed that extra step to make it a true business. So we are a gaming adventure business.
That's so cool and really strikes home to my heart personally, Pete. And I know you know that about me as well. I'm so happy to see that. And I'm always a fan. I watch every single season online and on Facebook Live. I'm the idiot in the comments screaming at the players. And I love every moment. And I'm so proud of the last season I watched because you really had an army of volunteers that rivaled the biggest and best events out there. It's just top notch. And I'm personally only sad because the game always happens during the last week of school at my particular high school. So unless I happen to need a procedure that week, I don't think I'm ever going to personally be there, but I will always be there virtually with you guys. So thank you for coming on. With us as well is the newest member of our podcast team, Parker. Welcome, buddy.
Hey, Kirk, how you doing? What a great introduction.
It was a pretty quick one, buddy. But Parker, tell me about how long you've been involved with Surviving Reelfoot.
Yeah, so Surviving Reelfoot, I originally played in its third season back in 2016. I was 16 at the time. I was just a child, didn't know what was going on, and here we are, some 5-6 years later, and I'm still fortunate to be a part of it. Like Pete said, last year, Amos, and I formed the Surviving Reelfoot LLC. Don't know how I got picked out of all of the great Reelfoot alumni, but I got picked. Super happy to be a part of it. I love putting on Reelfoot. I love getting to meet the people. And so that's basically what I do now. I don't know how I'm still a part of it, but I am, and I'm really happy about it.
That's so cool to hear, and I love it when contestants become alumni, and then look at you're part owner as well now.
Right.
I guess you won the game in some ways.
Yeah, I would have rather had the title, but yeah, right. I won in different ways. In all seriousness, Pete has a great quote where he says, "You don't have to wear the crown to be the winner," and that holds true to me as well. I do feel like a winner. Yeah.
Kirk's heard that before.
And I believe it. I just heard it last night.
Now, You've heard me say that before. You just
I,
didn't pay attention to me.
oh, I no, Pete absolutely said this to me in person as well. And I can tell you, I was in a hammock and he was sitting on the edge of a picnic table right next to me. Like I literally can remember the experience of it. But the thing, uh, well, first off, we have another guest here. Let's get right to this. Somebody I've known of particularly for ages because my partner played in an online reality game called I Survivor. Some of you will know Sandy, the host, who
Hmm.
played his first live game just recently, Mayhem Manor, and absolutely had a ball. Tymeka, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, I don't know if you saw last night's episode, but I got to speak with your homeboy Jack Atkins from Big Brother Columbus. You and him went pretty deep in the game, and
Mhm.
I we gotta hit the elephant in the room right now because Tymeka, you're pretty famous for a pretty infamous event at Reelfoot.
Yeah.
So you're all recovered now, right? All good.
I'm still recovering.
Yeah.
It's still, it's a slow process, but
Uh-huh.
it's good. I can walk. And it was just an experience in my life. I'm sad that it ended like that. Um, I wish I could have just done something a little bit different. You know how they go. The
I
coulda,
I
woulda,
hate
shoulda.
I hate balance beams. I'm terrified of them. I'm afraid of heights, any heights, like, and I'm 6'6".
Right. That's
But
what I get for thinking that I can outrun the person that I was competing against.
from this summer, Jack has scars from being bit by hornets. He was on a hornet's nest, and they mud hornets, I think they're called. I don't. They
Oh wow.
viciously attacked him, and he said he has scars on his body still from that attack. Um, so, anyways, as we talk about our traumas from this experience, we're here to talk about the Survivor 41 contestants who probably are a little bit crazy from this crazy round that they just went through. This episode is called Betrayed, and there's definitely some betrayals happening here, Pete.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Pete, what do you think so far of the season? What are your thoughts?
Well, I go up and down with this season, but I'm a true Survivor fan, and I like that every season's a little bit different. I don't want them to all be repeats of previous seasons. And there are some people
Mhm.
upset over this season for various reasons. And when they talk to me about it, I say, guys, it's Survivor. Just watch it and enjoy it. And there's always something different. I like some of the different twists. There's some things that I wouldn't like. I wouldn't like for it to happen to me, and I'm not crazy about it happening to some of them. But for me, it's just Survivor, and I look forward to every Wednesday for me at 7 o'clock, and it's a ritual. And get out of my way because I got to be there.
If I haven't already had dinner by the time Survivor starts, I'm in a bad mood. Like I just
Mm,
want to be all in, just sitting there with either a snack or my drink or whatever, my favorite people
mm-hmm,
to be with, my family.
mm-hmm,
And I sit here and I take notes for these podcasts, and I,
right.
it was. I feel the same way. I love Survivor. I'm here for it every single week. There's probably nothing they can do to get me away from this episode, even
Oh,
if they
no,
they could do the craziest things. And
right.
there's a lot of twists in this season, Parker, but Reelfoot is known for a lot of creative and sometimes very original twists as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for the compliment. Kind of like Pete said, I mean, if every season was the exact same every single time, cookie cutter template, then it would get boring. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But like you said, Kirk, there are a lot of twists, and um, being being somebody that helps put on a game, Kirk, you help put on a game. When you do all these twists, you have to be open to the fact that some of them aren't going to work or even be received that well. That's just part of being a creative, the creative process. So, Survivor opens themselves up to criticism when they try out new things of an established format that people really care about. I think some of the criticism online is a bit harsh. I think, I think it definitely could be conveyed by some people in a more constructive format, but it's hard to say that some of the criticism isn't fair.
Tymeka, who are you rooting for this season?
Oh. I love my girl Cheyenne. I got to give her props, her flowers. I love how she just strategizing, getting everybody like she's 2 steps ahead. And sometimes you have to be 2 steps ahead, but you have to at least kind of sit back a little bit and let it just fall to you. And what I see she's doing is like today, like in an episode today, she was just like on it, and the people that was around her now is seeing her as a big threat. And I'm like, just quiet down, just let it be, please, just let it go, let it go, and because I want her to go so far. I'm liking mostly everybody. Everybody has their own story. I'm liking everybody so far. I'm liking this season so far. Yeah, we have a lot of advantages and stuff. I mean, that's Survivor.
I think when we get opinions from online reality game players, a lot of online gamers are used to Survivor games with tons of advantages. I mean, so it's not as hard for them to strategize. We're used to taking notes. I know on the island you can't take notes, but we're used to that. So to an extent, it's like, oh no, we've seen this, we've seen worse. I mean, honestly, my favorite season of Reelfoot was partially because of the twist, but also because of the cast. I mean, it really always comes down to the cast, but sometimes a great twist with a great cast. And it would be William Yelton's season where Alex Wagner won, and I think Nessa was third, right? Every player had an extra vote, if I remember this correctly. And oh my God, the gameplay of these players. Wait, like you're starting with like what? Let's say it was 20 people, but essentially there's 40 votes in this game. When do you decide to use it? And we saw, I think, Anessa and William Yelton run circles around some of these players at some of the junctures that I was just like, and when you watch it live, friends, you see everything. So those conversations you want to see on Survivor 41 that they don't show us because it's the perfectly edited episode. We got to see it all. The good, the bad, the good moves, the bad moves. So everybody comes across as really holistic. It was riveting season, P. I loved it.
Great.
So bring it this summer. I want some.
We got some tricks up our sleeves.
I definitely would be watching.
We got some tricks up our sleeves.
Okay.
We're working on some tricks for you.
So this episode starts with the aftermath of the biggest blindside with the advantage. People online are calling it the knowledge is sour power. And I completely agree. There was it's just crazy. It looks like the Yasa 3 were together, and then they voted together, and then they come back to camp, and they're like, "Nope, we're working on our own." What did you guys think of the aftermath?
I thought it was wow. I'm like, what? I wonder what those 3 were gonna do because yeah, you're safe for 3 days, but then you have to go back to tribal council and face these other people that you try to like blindside, and they're gonna be thinking like, okay, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. So those would be the 3 next biggest target, and I was thinking like, yeah, they're gonna go after those 3 because they really just put themselves out there. Like, yeah, we working together, and I have the idol.
Yeah, I'm not for sure it's the smartest move. obviously they're going to be stronger, and even with just the three of them, but it might be a smart move to also not appear to be so close and to try to bring in some other to try to gain some more knowledge. I'm still not for sure. I do think they have split up, but I was hoping there at the beginning that they were smart enough to try to get out and get some other seeds planted, but to still stay strong. Evie, I think, is kind of, I think she was working the hardest to try to, to go to other people and try to convince them that she was not with Xander like she had been. Because they put all their marbles on the table in that tribal, and I mean
They definitely did.
yeah, they had no choice but to try to recover from it. They did survive, and I'm glad they did. But I kind of wish they still were a little bit more emotionally attached than I think that they are.
Well, and I was just going to say real quick, I'm surprised because they didn't seem to really touch on it. The reactions of the other players not in the three, what they thought about the three splitting up. Because to me, obviously those three are in between a rock and a hard place. But if I just stuck out my neck for my allies like Xander did and Tiffany did, all for Evie, and I'm Shan or Nasir or whoever, I'm like, y'all were loyal to a fault 2 seconds ago, and now you're just flipping on them. That's kind of perception is reality, and that's kind of a bad look. I kind of see what you're saying, Pete, where maybe the thought is, well, we're not as loyal, so maybe people won't stick us together as a three. But at this point, they were so obviously a three and so obviously on the bottom. Even at the end of this episode, they still haven't made much ground. They may as well have just stuck to their guns and stuck to the three instead of playing this, oh, I'm all in for myself game. So there was a lot of routes they could have took.
I mean, what's crazy to me is, like, on paper, this looks like it should be an easy thing. Like, oh, we duped everybody. We got out a blue. Like, if this is old school Survivor, and okay, Ua and Yasa team up together. Shan and Liana are already Black Girl Magic besties, so they have an alliance. There's no reason why they shouldn't want to work together. They already have these people or had these people on their side, and you have the numbers. You have that's 6 people right there, and at this juncture, where else can they go? But that is definitely not what's going to happen. In fact, Tiffany had a quote this episode that I loved. It was, I'm going to use whoever, whatever, whenever, or something like that. And I was like, is this the same Tiffany I've been watching?
Not only that, Heather got her a confessional. I'm like, okay, girl, you trying to get one? But her intake was like, whoa. So my girl, she and Leanne gotta either work their magic on the rest of the people too, because they onto them like right on right. Like they onto them. So they need to really listen to the other members in the alliance so that it won't be all confusing for them, and then they want to get them out before it's even time. They need to get out other people like Xander and just other people.
So Naomi, since we're talking about Heather right now in this situation, what do you guys think of Heather making that push right at the end of literally after, usually when you're supposed to be sequestered, Heather's like, I'm going to start playing the game. Day 16, people. I'm waking up.
It was the first time we saw. I was just going to say, I think it was the first time we saw Heather in any meet of the game. I really think it's going to hurt her. I think it was a bad move. I think it made drama for TV. I liked it, but I don't think it's going to help Heather's game at all. I think she did it too late, too little, too late.
Too late. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I think modern Survivor, we've seen so much in these last few seasons with all these idols and advantages and so much talk of, I need a resume, I did this and I did that to win the game. That's just how the trend is going. Heather, you're seeing a lot from Heather. She hasn't really had to do much because she's been safe.
No.
Her tribe has been winning challenges.
Exactly. Her tribe been winning.
Yeah, so I think Heather now is really feeling the pressure of, oh shoot, if I do happen to make my way to the end of this game, what am I going to say? So I think Heather was kind of feeling like maybe I need to make my play now. And I'm glad she wanted to make a play. She needs to, I think, because I think she's very under the radar. I just don't think it, unfortunately, is going to work out for her.
Right. I'm not sure she's under the radar today.
No, not anymore. She was.
That no. They're gonna be all. I can tell the next episode they're gonna be all on her.
Yeah. Asir will be after her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, she better hope she doesn't come in just second place this time.
And she's the easy vote. Like that could be somebody that you would want to like. Okay, if you want to throw your vote on that person, she really ain't. But I would want to keep her because I know I can beat her in some of the challenges.
And
it's like
and we still have hope that Evie, Liana, Xander, and Shan and Ricard will finally get together. There's still hope for that, I think, Kirk.
They should try and pull in Erica as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Erica's kind of on the apps on her little tribe. I mean, for sure.
The move she made, I was thinking the move she had made the last episode. I was thinking that she would be the one that they wanted to target.
They've forgotten it.
But they forgot her. Yeah. So if I was her, I would be sliding in there and be like, okay, what you doing? Okay, yeah, okay. Or I'll just sit back and just chill. Yeah. Because that's what she needs to do. Just sit back and chill. Let everybody come to her and be like, look, we need your vote. She's going to be a swing vote either way. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're exactly right, Tymeka. I think that, of course, we didn't see a lot of Erica tonight, but I think that's probably what she's trying to do. She's probably trying to be that lay low, come to me, I'm a free agent type of player, and I hope it works for her. I do like Erica.
But tonight it seemed to be more about, to me, Evie, Liana, and Shan and their strategies.
Yeah. And they all are doing pretty amazing. Like Evie, she won. And her underdog story, I mean, their underdog story was like, okay, the little turtle and da-da-da. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And I feel what she's saying because she wants to have her tribe stick together. You know how you want to just be loyal to your tribe once you emerge, and you just want that number. And the way it's not looking out for her, she constantly has to win a individual immunity now going forward. Like that's going to be hard with these people that she have. It's going to be hard for her to even win the next immunity because she's going to have to win the next one and the next one, and they're going to be constantly trying to get her.
And Xander's not there to play his idol on her anymore either. I don't think. No, I think he's moved on from that idea.
Well, I mean, we could just take the quotes from the start of the episode. Liana says about Yasa, it's fractured, quote unquote. Evie literally says, Yasa is done. And Xander literally says, I'm a free agent moving forward. So unless editing is heavy-handed hitting us with a blind side at home, I think Yasa is kaput. And these three are probably not going back together.
I think it's kaput. I think they all want to like work with other people on the other tribe, like Mian and Sheehan. They black girl magic, so they're gonna pull in like Danny and like Sheehan like the Nasser, like she wants to have him in her pocket. So it's like you try to get these people to want to work with you when you get to the merge, so you can have the numbers going forward. But sometimes people be like, "Nah, I don't want to work with you. This is my best option here."
Well, that's like what we were talking about with Shan, and we're going to get more into that in this episode. But it's like she wants to be in the driver's seat, but it's like with Deshaun said, "Don't shut me down when I speak." He said that numerous times. Shan wasn't just in the driver's seat; she was on the freaking hood of the car, like banging on the windshield.
She was driving full 100 miles an hour, probably more than that. Like, we getting this. That's why I was saying, like, she needs to. Yeah, that's why I was like, she needs to just break it down, calm down just a little bit, so that it won't be looking like they going after it. Because from what I was seeing today, they like everybody was like going after, like saying she's not loyal, she's doing too much. I'm like, girl, just calm it
Yeah,
down,
but
and
that's
you'll be
not
in
her
it because you already in
personality.
a good place, right?
Yeah,
She's already in a good spot.
yeah.
You know what I'm
She's
saying?
not going to
All
back
she have
up.
to do is just work with it, and just don't say nothing, sit back. But she's not. She is
She,
in her to
she,
be the one to be a leader.
she's going to get in
I'm not
trouble
mad
with
at
that.
that.
She's going to get
Yeah,
in
she
trouble.
really is. She
Yeah.
If she don't just back down, she will. She'll
Yep.
be in trouble.
I don't see her backing down either.
Nah,
Oh,
nah.
yeah, absolutely not gonna bet. This cast, I mean, there's one person I would say would back down to anything, and I'll talk about that later because I have a hot take this episode. There's somebody I am not a fan of anymore, but we'll get to that at the end. The
Ooh.
first, yes, it's I'm gonna spill some tea in a little bit, but um,
Ugh.
and I have a personal opinion about this first twist. Okay, so we get to a reward challenge. Mind you, we've had like what, two reward challenges this season? Like I can't, and it was, if we remember, Ua won the reward challenge. That was like one of the only things they won, and they got this the guy got to come to their camp and show them
Mhm.
how to
Show them
fish
how to
and
eat. Mhm.
yeah. And if I correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, whether now or later, but I think that's the last time Shan ate food, which was day 4. So
Yep.
let's keep that in mind, as well as probably Ricard too, except no, Ricard got the feast. So remember, Ricard
Yeah.
has been pleasantly full, and Shan, I think, is literally starving at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep that in mind. So we get our famous bag of rocks. We're going to divide into
Mm-hmm.
2 teams, but the
Mm-hmm.
twist is there is one gray rock. And of course, the survivor gods could not have just cursed another
Overlook
person more. Yeah, they decided, Erica, it's your turn. Um, Pete,
again.
what did you think about Xander's move that
Oh,
he made?
well, I'm a big fan of Xander. And so I think he knows he's playing from the bottom and he's trying to be that hero. I like the move. I like that he did it. I like that he did it for her. And I think that might come back to help him in a little bit in the future, hopefully. I mean, Erica's got to be loyal to him now for that. And they did win. Now, she could have been on the side that lost and still didn't get to eat, but she did get a grilled cheese. And I thought it was funny that Xander said he liked to be with the losers as well after he was back in camp because he gets to see another side of them and hear their
Mhm.
strategy. Because when they're losing, they're very loose tongued and they're all quick
Mhm.
to talk about why they're mad or down or losing. So he was just listening more so. But I love the play. I thought it was heroic and I liked it and it made me even a stronger fan of his.
And on top
I
of it,
thought it
Pete,
was too much.
oh, give it
Go
to us,
ahead.
Tymeka.
I mean, I kind of figured he was going to, because he, like, I understand where Pete coming from. He's very smart. He knew to say, hey, it's something over there for me to grab.
Well, he
And I
didn't.
don't want nobody else to get it. I understand. I completely understand it. But I would, if I was on the others, if I was over there like the other contestant, I would have been like, why is he giving that up? It really don't, what I'm saying? It would have made me second guess why his intentions why it was his intentions was doing that. And I probably it would have been red flags to me, like, you ain't never tried this before, even though we never been on a try before, but why would you do that? Like, it
Mm.
just make me just look at him like, you were trying to get an immunity item.
Well, the twist is, if you haven't seen it, Jeff Probst, it takes us to the sit-out bench, which is just like the floating dock from Game Changers, and on there is another secret advantage. I feel like this is
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Island, and an advantage is coming back.
Coming back.
Xander looked for it, you guys. Like we
Mm-hmm.
He
literally
did.
saw him look on both sides and miss. He,
Mm-hmm.
and Jeff Probst even goes,
I
"That's
was
a
like,
missed opportunity," while they're still there.
Mm.
I was
He's
like,
so
no, don't
cheeky.
get it. Because I really wanted Erica to really get it so she can do what she needed to do. So I'm like, please don't get it. I ain't gonna even lie. Because I was like, that belonged to Erica.
So I wish we knew what it was. We have no idea what this
Yeah.
advantage could have been. My guess is since idols are still in play, maybe it was a advantage for the immunity challenge potentially. I don't know what that would look like, but perhaps we could have seen that. Here is my kind of hot take on this.
Let's hear it.
I like Probst's breaking of the fourth wall. And I know there's fans out there that have been talking about it. You hate it, you hate it, you hate it. But I watch live reality games and I watch, who's your live guy? What's his name? Oh, the guy who does your live for Reelfoot. He always goes, and we're live. What's his name, Pete?
Oh, Nathan?
Nathan. So we're used, those of us that watch these, we're used to the host or somebody talking to us at Can You Survive? We were getting all sorts of like secret details about what was happening in the game. So I'm here for it. But what I'm not here is for when Jeff Probst has no idea what he's talking about. So Jeff, he says, sometimes when you're on the bottom, there's an advantage that you can find. Excuse me? Erica just pulled out a gray rock. If that was Shan pulling out a gray rock, this bitch ain't on the bottom. Like the gray rock has nothing to do with it, Jeff. Like that has to do. So this is how they should have done it. They should have done the old school pick two rocks that are captains, schoolyard pick. Then Kirk's on the bottom and I'm crying my eyes out on the sit out bench. And then I go, my advantage. That's
how they did it in Game Changers. Michaela wasn't picked, which still to this day is a surprising call considering she's so good in challenges. And then, she didn't get the advantage, but she had an opportunity to. So I guess they were trying to do something a little different so they wouldn't repeat themselves. Try new ideas, sure. But I'm kind of with you, Kirk. I was wondering if it ain't broke, don't fix it a little bit.
Fix it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when it comes down to breaking the fourth wall, we see Evie win that challenge that we have seen before. It's the weird pyramid puzzle with buoys attached, and she solved it in seconds. And she's so excited that Jeff Probst gets excited and just looks right into the camera and says, "That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it."
So let me ask you, have you guys ever actually like printed out a puzzle or practiced a puzzle from a real game at any point?
I hate them. I ain't gonna even lie. I hate puzzles. Jigsaw puzzle, slider. No. No.
I mean, I and Pete reminded me of this actually. We were texting a little bit at the back and forth at the start of the episode. And he actually reminded me, because I had forgotten. I'm glad he reminded me. It was a cool moment. The puzzle that Evie solved, I made a similar puzzle for Reelfoot back in our 7th season. So that was kind of a nice, flashback to that blast from the past. But other than that, no, I don't know how to 3D print. I barely know. I don't know how to 3D print at all. So no, I'm not the type who's making puzzles on his own.
Yeah, Parker made the puzzle out of wiffle balls and glued them together. And it was very difficult to put it together, but you made the pyramid. It's what you ended up with, just like they did.
Yeah,
it was 6 pieces instead of 4 for ours, but it was very similar. And it kind of like Evie tonight, it's the type of puzzle where if you just happen to get lucky, not that Evie was lucky, but if you happen to get lucky, you can just put 2 or 3 pieces in one spot and then I'm done. I figured it out already. It's that type of puzzle, which is why I think the show really likes it.
So. I think
Probably,
it was lucky.
It's the type of puzzle that I'm sure the producers and Jeff love because, as we saw tonight, Evie's team was behind in the challenge and they clutched the win. So it's kind of a cool puzzle in that regard.
The thing I can't get past is Evie celebrating that she studied for Survivor and practiced this in front of the other players.
Oh, that was
they
bad.
don't.
Yep.
They don't know you.
Real bad.
Oh my gosh,
That's
what
why
are
I
you
said
doing?
That's why I said they're gonna keep constantly coming after her because they know she's survivor smart, and
Yeah.
so they're
And
gonna be
and
like, no.
it's hard to feel bad for her because obviously that's the fun part of the show, the human emotion. It's not scripted, that's a real human moment. I could see myself doing something like that. She was just so in the moment and excited. But like Tymeka said, she's already on the bottom. She barely survived by the skin of her teeth in the last episode. And now she's saying, oh, by the way, guys, I studied before the show. It's like that's just not information the other players need to say. If
You
you're
want to
fun
Mhm.
and
know.
tribal, go
Hmm.
on about that. Tell it then, but not right now when you're when you're a big target in the game.
So we
I
we
agree.
um we see Evie's team get the reward, and they're rewarded with grilled cheese sandwiches, chips, and I couldn't tell if it was beer or apple juice. It sure looked like Ricard loved it all. And yeah, and then we have everybody envious. I mean, things have come a long way in Survivor when we look at grilled cheese as the ultimate reward on day 16.
Okay, no, you starving. Shit,
Like,
I was starving when I was on Reelfoot, like day 3. I was like, I'm hungry. I want soda. I want chips. I want something.
that's so true, but like, can you put like a little pepperoni in there, like something? Like,
Man,
give me some spice,
I
some
don't
I
know,
was
flavor.
Kirk.
starving.
I've seen worse rewards on this show. Like I remember in Wrong, they gave them like Chinese food on like day 20 something. I'm like, I don't want Chinese food now. I want something filling. I've seen
Nah,
worse.
you would just be hungry in the next 5 minutes with Chinese.
That's what, right, exactly. I wouldn't want that then. I'd
That
want
wasn't gonna fill you up.
I'd want a burger or a steak or something, and not Chinese food at day
Some
20 something.
fried
So I've
burgers,
seen
yeah, hot dogs.
worse.
Oh, one more take from the challenge. Everybody remember Tiffany's high dive off of the platform, and she
I ain't
literally
mad
almost
at her.
flipped over.
I ain't mad at it. I was like, girl, go.
I
At
was
least you
like, go
was I
tried.
girl.
was I the only one who thought that was subtle shade by the editors that they play Erica basically belly flopping and then they cut and do the slow mo of this great dive from Tiffany? And then I think before
Right.
Erica was Danny in slow mo with this hero. So you go from hero action movie to
With the hair
belly
all
flop
shining.
to Tiffany doing this Olympian style dive in the water. I was like, okay, editors, you got jokes.
This takes us to Papaya Gate, the newest food trauma drama on Survivor. Pete, tell us of what went down with the papayas this episode.
Well,
Papaya.
they've been out and had their great grilled cheese and their chips and their apple juice slash beer, and the other group have been they are hungry, and fortunately, Nasir goes out and finds a papaya and he peels it for them and slices it for them, and they're enjoying it. They're starving, and here comes Ricard after eating a full meal and bends down and takes a piece. And Shan wasn't going to have any of that. And she said, nobody's laughing here with you. You've eaten. Get back. Leave this alone. And I don't know that I blame her. Now, I know he wanted to taste it. You're on this island, you're on this game. You think, well, man, I want to see what that tastes like. But it was, in my opinion, disrespectful to those that were starving. And you got grilled cheese breath and potato chip breath, and you're getting a piece of
Mm-hmm.
papaya.
You
Now,
talking about
if
papaya.
they had any left and they said, we are full, would you all like some papaya? Then yes, but don't come in and take it when they're still getting it ready to eat. I didn't blame her.
Period.
Okay, this I might I feel like I have different opinions today than everybody.
Okay, I'm gonna
Did,
hear it.
did
Let's
anybody
hear it,
else?
Kirk.
Well, okay, so Nasir was the one who got the pineapple. So without Nasir, or pineapple, papaya, without Nasir, there is no papayas. So
Right.
my question I asked Dustin while we were watching it is, what was Nasir's reaction to this? Because we never
That's
got
true.
to see it. And
Didn't see it.
was I'm sure he heard about it. Shan tells everybody her feelings. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. How did Nasir feel? He gave his papaya away freely. He didn't hide it all. He didn't go in the woods and eat
Eat it
papaya for
alone.
days. I just question it's just it's a whole different way of playing Survivor, right? But I understand the jealousy. So what for for what it's worth, at the game Pete and I played, for some reason the jury that season brought food to every tribal council while we were
Ate in
hungry
front of us.
and ate
Mhm.
in front of us.
Mm.
And at one of the
Oh, I
tribals,
remember that.
I just went up and took a bite of a hot dog. I think it was Baxter's. And I just went, huh? And I walked past and I went and voted. And I came back and they were like, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, oops. I'm
Did.
hungry. I wanted that
Be
hot
like, I'm
dog.
starving. I'm hungry.
Oh my
Y'all
gosh.
just up there eating in front of my face. No, that was bad.
But you know,
Uh-uh.
kudos to them for getting the papaya in the first place. And
Yeah.
also Ricard like being like, I didn't even know there was papaya out here.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what's that? It was South Africa. I don't know if you watched this last season, but coconuts would just appear on the beach there for chappies, and people were like, there's no tree here. Where are the coconuts coming from? So we're pretty sure like production was just throwing them onto the beach, like, here's food, go eat.
It showed him climbing the tree and getting it out of the tree, though, didn't it?
At one point, there was an episode where they just appeared, like multiplied, like little animals on the beach all over the place.
Okay.
Well, to your point, Kirk, I think the producers know what they're doing. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't always the plan to make them offer the players sit out of the challenge for more rice. That could have always been the plan, but it's, you know, it's funny that it comes up immediately after we're having food drama back at camp. Again, I'm not saying anything. It's just awfully good timing. The producers know what they're doing.
And then it was rice. I was thinking it would be like food, like hot dog or something.
Yeah.
All right. But it was good for them, though.
Yeah.
It's
I
true.
thought they had all the rice they could eat. I was surprised about that too. Rice? Uncooked rice. I mean, yeah.
And like I said, Shan's on fumes, right? Like if we look at the math, it looks like day 4 was the last time she really ate. So it makes sense for her reaction to be a little bit more crazy about food, both there and then at the challenge. She gives up her spot. But right before that, I just want to highlight Ricard got a confessional where he spoke more than like 1 or 2 sentences. I was kind of happy for it, even though I'm not a super fan of Ricard. But I thought it was funny because he said, I get snapped at for winning a reward. Boy, that's not what you got snapped at for. You snatched papaya. That's
food.
what
Taking food.
like
On a full stomach. For just pure enjoyment. He just wanted the food for the taste, where they needed the food for the nourishment. 2 different things.
So we get
he was doing too much.
Too much. We get to the immunity challenge, and the big twist is, like you said, it's like, you know, mason jars, you know, if you don't know, it's like you got the jelly jar size, and then you got the big one for like pickles, and then you got the baby one that you don't use for anything. That one they filled with rice. And they said if one person you get this for yourself, or if multiple people step out, you get rice. Is this, Parker, is this the new version of the Survivor auction?
Probably
Is
so.
it back? I don't know.
It's probably so.
I mean, I would love for the auction to come back. This way, though, I don't know.
And so Shan is all about it. Nasir's already been a provider, Tymeka. She's all about it. And Xander makes another move here. And it's kind of interesting. He says, I will go fourth if somebody goes third, which is just like out of the box. I wasn't expecting
But he
it.
went ahead and stepped forward. I'm not sure why he said he would go fourth if someone else would go third, but he instantly steps up. So he actually went third.
Pretty much.
True. That's
Pretty
very
much.
true.
Mhm.
So they start with negotiating super low, and Jeff Probst, a la executive producer of a show on CBS, I'm sure he has dealt with the most high intense negotiations of anybody's life. I can't imagine what the man has been through. And he comes at them with, are you playing this game with me? Seven people. And they are like shook for a second, like, oh,
Seven.
this man is out for blood right now. Like,
But
you want nobody to play this game.
exactly. I think that was the plan. To have nobody play. What if nobody played? Nobody would have gotten idle. Everybody would have been up for it. I don't think that ever happened.
I
in
don't think it
Survivor
could ever
history.
happen either.
I don't
But
think it ever will happen.
you know, it's interesting. He agrees to the four, and he says, you four can sit out, and you take Rice. You're taking Rice home, and of course, Xander is with that group, Pete, which just goes with the quote you shared earlier. I'd rather be with the losers.
Mm-hmm. And
Mhm.
we haven't seen if there's
I get
anything
it.
inside that rice yet. That's still a
Oh.
possibility, in my opinion.
Maybe they put the advantage in there.
Mm-hmm. It still could be poured out.
Yeah. It's a very interesting
I
challenge.
wouldn't put it past them to have something inside the rice.
That could totally come out later. You know, it's one of the challenges. What it is, it's a balance on your toes. You got a wooden block on the top of your head. I actually looked at this and said, if you put in some modifications, Reelfoot could actually do this with your
my
water
wife,
structure.
Yeah, my wife said that first thing. She said you all could do that so easy.
Yeah, you absolutely could. It'd be cool to see. I don't know how long it will last if you're standing flat-footed, but if you're standing on your toes, I thought more people would drop, especially taller people, because I think the taller you are, probably the harder that one is.
You think so?
Just because you lose balance easily when you are a taller person sometimes.
Well, and if you're holding something wobbly, that's meant to fall off your head, the shorter you are, the lower your center of gravity is, so that might help as well.
Okay.
So it might struggle for someone like you, Kirk, being taller, whereas Erica might have maybe a disadvantage being smaller. That'd be my thought, at least.
It was really cool seeing
because I probably couldn't even reach. this.
Well,
I'm like
if
short.
you look
Like,
at it, I looked at it because I was thinking of Reelfoot. The base they were standing on were all at different heights. They had some really low, so they definitely had built that for the person that was going to step on. They didn't draw for spots like they do sometimes. They were given their spot because that had some were much higher and lower.
Yeah, that would be
was
the only. If we want to do that specific challenge with the base and the block on the head and all, that would be difficult because you'd have to adjust it to each person's specific height. That would be the difficult
But if you
part.
put them on a balance beam using our water challenge and let the block be different heights. So you have some short blocks and you have some tall blocks, but everybody's standing at the same base.
That's true. No, right. If you want to do that specific challenge we did tonight, it'd be difficult. But if we did your version, a variation of it, I think we could easily pull that off. Although I don't know how Tymeka feels about a bounce beam return.
It's only 3 inches tall.
Yeah, use Legos. Legos, you could alter the size of them, and then you could have
There you go.
an inch smaller for shorter people
The
or taller people.
I think those Legos would collapse, Kirk. We're going to have to cut a real piece of wood.
Yeah, you would.
We have to use a landscape timber.
So the end of the challenge is kind of exciting. We have Heather versus Evie, and I actually was rooting for Heather at this moment in the game.
Me
I was
too.
like,
Me
okay,
too.
she woke up. She's here to
She
play. Let's
woke.
go, girl.
Hmm
My
Let's
whole
see.
room was rooting for
That's what I
Heather.
like about. Yeah, that's what I like about it because some challenges might suit to different people, and so it's not all about how strong you are in each challenge. It's always something where even somebody like Heather can win. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like that they thought about different challenges to where it suits different people.
I liked Heather's approach. Her stance was clearly the strongest because she did this wide-legged.
Yes.
She pointed her toes out to the side. There's got to be something to that, guys. That's got to be the position.
Oh
to
yeah,
be.
the people I was watching with pointed that out as well. Her different approach to Evie's. Heather didn't come out on top tonight, but there was definitely some approach, some logic to that approach.
Yeah, so Heather, the Heather fans that are out there, you got your episode, friends. Even if it's kind of a crazy, weird, wonky move at the end of it,
Mhm.
we can get into this. So Evie dashes plans of taking Evie out of this game
Out of
by win, and here we go. We are now scrambling to make a decision, and this group of people freaking cannot make a decision at all. It was
Nope.
at
crazy.
all.
So Tymeka, I'm calling the new alliance of the core four Black Alliance the Luau in response to the cookout from Big Brother. I think the Luau is the perfect name, so that's what we're gonna go with for my
The
podcast.
luau. I'm rooting for the luau. They
The
better take
Luau,
it. They better take it. I'm rooting for each and every one of them. Come
the
on.
Luau is
They got to do
here,
it.
but Deshaun wants to take the driver's seat back from Shan. She ain't
Yep.
Cheyenne.
feeling it.
The
That's why I
luau's
said
not going to
Cheyenne
stick
need.
together.
That's why I say Cheyenne need to like now that Deshaun went to her and like told her like, hey,
But she
my
didn't.
gories count and da da da. She kind of got it, but she still needs to like sit back because she's in a great position. She was in a great position, so she just needed to just calm down just a little bit. Just
She's not
calm
going
it
to.
down. I know she's not,
She's not
Yeah.
going to.
and that's what I love about her.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes down. I have to say my prediction was wrong. I truly thought it would be Evie or Ricard that said betraydar because for some reason I was connecting that with the term gaydar, but of course radar simply rhymes with betraydar, and so it
Jadar.
had nothing to do with sexuality, dumbass Kirk. What it had to do with is Xander being
Xander.
constantly and consistently betrayed, but Pete, he's noticing it. He
Yes,
realizes
he
what's
is.
happening. Yep.
But can he? But can he fix it? Knowing it. Of course, knowledge is going to give him the knowledge that he needs to try to start fixing it. But I'm not sure what avenues open for him to really fix it. I mean, he's being betrayed, but he's being betrayed because he's not seen in their eyes as somebody they want to go forward with. And he's trusting some
He
of the
need
wrong people. But who's out there that he could trust? I mean, looking at the list, who's left? Now, I tell you a person that's really been under the radar that I'm anxious to see start playing, and that's Danny.
Yeah.
When's he going to step up and really play? He speaks every now and then. He reminds me of my grandfather, not because of his age, but when my grandfather spoke, it was always people stopped to listen. And so when
listen.
Danny does speak, I do think they
They
listen,
listen. Yeah,
but
they do.
I'm ready for him to play something. I'm not seeing him play much, so maybe Xander could somehow get in with him because everybody else, Ricard's not going to open his arms to him. Shan's not.
Mm-mm.
Nasir maybe, Erica maybe, Deshaun probably not, Evie no, Liana no. I don't know. I like Xander.
I had
I
a
mean,
thought on that actually, real quick. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I moved rooms.
mhm.
Okay, sorry.
Mhm.
There's thunder. I'm okay personally. The internet's not out yet, but there's thunderstorms in my area. That's why my internet's been kind of wonky. But I was curious what y'all thought about it. Speaking of Danny, they didn't really touch on it, but last week it was so important to Danny and Deshaun that we need to keep the male numbers in the game up. It can't be one of us can't go. It can't be Nasir. And then who's the person that even threw out Nasir's name? It was Danny. The show didn't really give us a clear reasoning why Nasir needs to go in Danny's opinion. I just thought that was kind of an interesting decision. We go one week
Season.
from
I thought it
Danny
was
and
Deshaun
Deshaun are
that threw
keeping
it out.
Nasir. No,
I missed that.
maybe it was Deshaun, but I think Danny's the one who brought it up to Shan.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So I just thought I wondered if y'all had a thought on that. Why does Nasir need to go now when Danny was so big on
Well,
a female needs to leave?
I think they're looking at those
Right.
idols and trying to get the idols out of the game. Of course, they
That's true.
didn't do it tonight.
Yeah.
They left all three still in there. But I don't know. Of course, Ricard tried to get Xander to play his. Fortunately, the kid was smart enough to read through that too.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he's changed that philosophy to take out a guy.
Yeah. And traditionally, just going off of, conventional wisdom of previous Survivor seasons, the big athletic physical guys, do really well
Always.
in the tribal phase, but then when they get to the merge, they're a target for being a challenge threat. So you would think Danny would want Nasir around, who's proven himself in challenges, but I guess he sees it differently. So I'm curious. I'm kind of with you, Pete. I want to see a little bit more from Danny to see if he's long for this game.
I think Danny and Deshaun have a relationship with Heather that is a little bit stronger than people are letting on. We got a taste of it at Tribal Council where Deshaun flat out told Shan, I'm not voting her out this round. And I really think that she is a potential person that maybe before this round they thought they could always beat at challenges. That might change. I think it happened to just be a certain challenge that might be easier for different body types. But we shall see. I can speculate for Danny, but I really think that is the case for Deshaun. We did see Heather in a couple other clips earlier on with Deshaun and Erica speaking too. So that might be indicating that that group of people is a little bit closer than what they're letting on.
That's why I said that she ain't. I mean, that's why I said she ain't in trouble if they get together. Yeah, that's gonna be deadly. She's gonna be in trouble. I tell you, if they get in together, she's in trouble.
Well, in one big moment that I love rooting for Shan because I love the game she's playing, but man, she's, as Tymeka said, she's doing the most. What was the benefit from telling Nasir that, hey, I used your name, it's okay, you're not going home? What was the benefit from that, Kirk, do you think?
Oh gosh. I don't know.
I was like, oh, baby.
Nasir wasn't having that.
Tymeka, I'm sure as a Shan stan, you were cringing in that moment.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like, what's the point? I felt like Shan, and again, this can come down to the food issue. I mean, maybe they made rice. They didn't have a lot of time between the challenge and tribal. Right. So I don't even know that Shan got to eat yet at this point. So she's still a little crazy.
That's just hunger. I would have been crazy too if I'm hungry.
She was
starving out there.
Like Pete, she was talking to everybody. And I always get concerned of the person that just walks from group to group to person to person I love people that play the game, and I want to play the game. I want to play your game and play the game with you, whatever that means to you. But when you are just constantly moving, I get nervous.
That was Tiffany too. She was doing that today. She was doing that. She was going to everybody. Like a little like, yeah. Pick me.
I mean, Tiffany did say if there's a crab tonight, it can vote with me or whatever.
Oh man, she didn't care.
She didn't, but Tiffany knew she wasn't getting anywhere with people.
She knew it. She knew she messed up from the last tribal council. Because I
let's
think
get
she was
back.
in a good spot too.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure was. But let's also, you can't forget my queen Heather from tonight's episode. Before we get to tribal council, she did this. She was like, you said my name.
Yeah.
I
That's
love
two people.
She's like, you already said it was me. You can't change your mind now.
Yeah. Shan's gotten in trouble now. She'll probably pull herself out of it next week, but they're definitely setting us up to
Oh, I
think
hope so.
that she is going to be in trouble.
Yeah. From the looks of it.
Well,
She just gotta
playing. Shan's unfortunately, her hands are in a lot of cookie jars right now, and I think she genuinely was trying to make a plan that makes sense to fool Tiffany and Xander and Evie. I think the logic was there. I just think she unfortunately got caught trying to please too many people, trying to please Nasir, then trying to please Heather, and it was just it's hard. It's hard being so outwardly in front of the alliance, and that's where Shan finds herself. I think the target is going to keep growing unless she can. I don't know what she needs to do, but she needs to do something.
Yeah.
And this is
keep her mouth
exactly
closed.
this actually, Parker, goes to something I just thought of, that when we talk to people applying for live reality games like Reelfoot,
yep,
you can play an org all day and people don't know who you're talking to. But when you're playing a live game, just like Kirk said, and you see people going from person to person to person, you can't hide that. And it gets you in trouble. Kirk has seen me do that. And it gets you in trouble. You have to learn from that. But I don't know if she'll learn. I don't know if she's got time to learn from it. She may already be too far.
So. I hope so.
She's got two advantages, so we'll see.
And she's smart enough to play them right. I think what she needs to do is, get off the hood of the car, get back in the driver's seat, and shove Ricard on the hood of the car and tell Ricard, let's do your plan, let's do your idea, so that he gets the focus and Shan can sit back and go, well,
that's the only way she probably can turn it around. Or
and Ricard
she have to shift it to somebody else.
And Ricard will love being on the hood of the car too.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Period.
He's a pretty boy. He is a hood ornament.
Uh-huh.
and to Ricard's point, he comes up with good ideas. However, we have not seen him execute one. In my opinion, tonight was another example of Ricard's failed execution of a plan. He was trying so hard to get Xander to play that idol at Tribal Council that it was clearly, if you have to tell somebody twice to play their idol, not true, you're lying.
Right.
Well,
come on.
And I don't.
Well, I would have thought about it. I would have probably been like, "Why you telling me to play my idol? Maybe I should, or maybe I shouldn't."
I don't like to get into like post-season stuff, X interviews, but just briefly, I mean, at least off the top of my head, Brad and Jeannie, possibly JD, in their X interviews have said Ricard rubbed them the wrong way socially in the game. So I think it's just, we keep seeing examples of, I think Ricard is a great strategic thinker, but for whatever reason, he's rubbing people the wrong way. And we're seeing that tonight. And maybe that's why him and Shan are such a good duo. Shan has the really good social capabilities, but she gets attached to people. We saw that with JD. It was hard for her to vote out JD. And Ricard, he doesn't have that problem, connecting with people too emotionally. He's like, it's a game, but he rubs people the wrong way. So it's a really interesting duo, and I'm I'm curious to see if they'll last much longer together, if one of them's going to be voted off soon.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the main event at Tribal Council. We already prefaced it. Heather decides to whisper after Jeff says it's time to... Yes. And she goes, it's time to go. This actually turns into something... Well, before we get to it, I want to preface this with, what is your guys' opinion of this thing that we're calling live tribal, where people get up and whisper?
I love
what do you
it.
guys think of it? Okay, Tymeka, you
I love it. It's something different, and I love that sometimes a plan y'all be thinking you think on the way there it was a plan, and soon as you sit down and get into tribal, plan starts switching. So I like that they can really talk about it and say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and then you'll know who's with who in the alliance. You'll be looking back like, "Okay, y'all talking? Okay, yeah." I like it because it shows mostly people cards that they try to hide, but once you do that and talking in tribal, it shows your cards.
Well, I think it's probably easier now that they do that than they did back in the old school, because in the old school you had to have plan A, B, and C,
Yeah.
See,
and you had to know what was going to happen. You had to predict what was going to happen. Now, like you said, Tymeka, when they get in tribal and things start changing, they just get up and do what they've done at the camp all day. They just start whispering and talking, only they're just in front of everybody. It's happening in
mm-hmm,
Reelfoot as well.
Yeah.
Very few tribal councils in Reelfoot do all the people stay in their seats. They get up and start re-whispering and
whispering, mm-hmm,
re-conniving. Mm-hmm.
I
But I
think
don't
mm-hmm,
know.
it's
I'm not against it. It's interesting TV,
right.
but I do.
mm-hmm,
I, yeah, I don't see them going back to where you can't do it. But remember
No,
when
I
that
mm-hmm.
first happened? Remember that first tribal council you was watching, and they got up and started whispering. You go, what is going on? Can they do that?
and
Mm-hmm.
now it's like every tribal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
right.
I I think it's probably really exciting for like if you're a jury member or if you're a producer who's physically there or Jeff in person. I think it makes for exciting TV, like Pete and Tamika said. I do think it's kind of hard to follow just from an editing standpoint as somebody watching from the TV. Sometimes it's kind of hard to follow. Now, last week I want to give them credit because I thought they edited it very well. I understood why it ended up landing on Sydney even through the live tribal. Everything
Mm-hmm.
made sense from point A to point B. So I do think they're getting better
Mm-hmm.
than they did the first few times, where it was kind of, I think they were learning how to edit a live tribal, which was really difficult to convey to the audience. But I mean, I enjoy it. Do I need it every time? Probably not, but I
Yeah.
think it
Mm-hmm.
definitely exposes an excitement, and it kind of, like Tamika said, exposes who feels good, who trusts who, because why would somebody be going up and whispering to somebody unless they really trusted them or really need to confirm a
Uh-huh.
plan?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly, Parker.
So
So
it
Exactly.
exposes dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Kirk?
I find it entertaining. I mean, I'm from old school LRGs, and I'm gonna reference the one I've been referencing all night that I played with Pete. The round that Pete went home, it was a tie vote. And my goal, and I don't even think I completely told Pete this. Pete knew I had an idol. My goal was for one of us to win immunity. But what I was actually trying to do, had not one of us won individual immunity, I was trying to switch the revote to not be Pete. Sorry, Chris Lord, if you're watching, but I was trying to take Pete deeper into the game, and I just could not make it happen. We essentially had a live tribal because we went to revote and we wouldn't. I actually said so. I said we're not voting Pete, and Cody, what James was like, no, we're voting Pete, and I'm like, what? I tried to
Well,
play dumb, like I'm not voting Pete. Like I literally tried to play as dumb as possible. It could not freaking work. I could not turn these people to change their mind, but they were so hungry and so like their cigarette addictions weren't being fed. I thought maybe I could trip these people up a little bit. It,
but
it
but
didn't work.
in all honesty, I didn't help you either, because Cody and I mean, we had a screaming match while I'm, when he's going to vote, I'm basically throwing stuff at him, and screaming at him while he's going to write my name down. But anyway, it worked out okay. I had a
Yeah.
great night that night. Chris didn't, so you know what I'm talking
True.
about. We'll do that another day.
That's true. That's another podcast. Okay, so they've been happening for a while. I like it when I can gather what is happening, but it excites me. But like I said, I don't want it every time. If it's every
No.
episode, take it out of the episode. I don't want to watch it. Um, so what do you guys think was Heather's plan? Let's give her the benefit of the doubt, and let's say Heather Why? What is Heather trying to do by changing the target to Nasir? What do you
Yeah,
think? That's
I
what I've
don't
been trying to
know.
process. What's her goal here?
Because he's one of her,
Mm,
5
Mm-hmm.
that's left in that tribe. I don't know.
I and not to repeat myself, so I'll keep it brief. I really do think part of it is Heather thinks I'm seen as maybe not one of the people, driving the car, like we've been using that analogy. I'm not the one dictating how the game is going. I've been very low key. I've been safe due to my tribe winning, and I think maybe in her mind, Jeff always talks about you got to make a big move, and I think in her mind, Nasir has an idol. He's very likable. He provides for the tribe. Maybe she just thought Nasir was a great place to start because maybe he can win the game. Maybe going back to my earlier question, maybe that's why Danny wants Nasir gone. Maybe the edit is showing us a little bit, but maybe Nasir is seen as this huge threat to win the game, and we're not really seeing that. But they think Nasir is a huge threat, which isn't, isn't so hard to believe from a viewer standpoint, given what we've seen. But to answer your question, maybe that was part of it. Heather just thought Nasir was a big threat, so let's start, taking him out. Maybe that'll be a big move on my resume.
And could it be a male-female thing? Because now there's 5 guys, 5 females, and maybe she realized taking Tiffany out, if they had kept Tiffany then and taken Nasir out, it would have given the female an advantage.
That's true.
Potentially,
Oh.
an alliance with the 6th female and the 4
That's
guys.
a very good
Against the 4 guys.
observation, Pete, because that's a great observation. Because as we saw last week, Danny and Deshaun were like, no, it's got to be a female, and it ended up being Sydney. And maybe Heather caught wind of that. It's like, well, why does it have to be a female? Is there a guy thing? Maybe I want to keep the female numbers.
Because now it's 5-5.
So what if that's the reason and they find out? Does this now change at least Deshaun's perspective of Heather? If Deshaun finds out,
will.
Yeah, that could be really bad for Heather.
Oh, I think it will. As we saw Deshaun tonight when he was talking about Shan, Deshaun doesn't really do well when he feels like he's being told what to do. And in his mind, maybe he thinks Heather has been a very loyal, very trustworthy, maybe even low-key ally, and now she's calling shots, and she didn't tell him about that. I have to imagine that's not going to go over well.
And against one of the guys, and against their biggest provider. What would be her? She's going to have to explain that move to several people, why she tried to flip that on Nasir, and especially to Nasir. And I don't know if she can do that. She's going to be in trouble. I don't think she could either. Trouble. Yeah. She's
if I was Nasir, I'm like, I'm done with you.
Well, yeah. You saw how upset he got when they just said his name.
Yeah.
But now they got a vote. Of course, Xander's the only one that voted for him, I think. But that was trying to get the vote on him.
Yep.
And before, Nasir and Heather had something in common with the same person mentioning their names. But now Heather just took that whole advantage away from herself as well by highlighting the target on Nasir.
I just don't know where that came from. I don't think it had anything to do with the idol. I don't think she was thinking flushing the idol. I don't think she was. But we'll probably have that conversation next week.
I think the
aftermath. Hopefully we'll know.
So, friends, as we've wrapped it up, the vote shakedown is crazy insane. Just like the greatest of all merges and like merge boot votes. I stopped counting. Tiffany got 5, and then who else got votes tonight? Xander.
Xander had 3. Nasir had 1. Xander had 3.
And Heather.
Heather got 1?
1 or 2, right?
1 or 2.
Yep. Okay. Actually, I have to be honest, I stepped out of the room really quick. And when I came back, the vote was already over. I said, how did they vote so quick? And anyway, I did go back and try to rewatch it because I knew y'all could be getting on, but it was vote was all over the place.
It was all over the place. And those are always exciting reveals. So check it out, friends, or don't, and just watch our podcast and follow us next time because we're going to be talking as well next week. Before we get to that, I want to show off our current leaderboard for the Jillian Lance Kirk Survivor 41 draft. Lance has finally lost his second contestant. It has taken freaking years since he had Sarah. So I still feel like Lance has the strongest team right now. I'm happy with my two. I am happy with Liana and Deshawn. I think Deshawn could pull a victory in the end still.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think Deshawn is a sleeper pick.
Well, for my group tonight, I will tell you, Tiffany was one of mine. I have three: Tiffany, Danny, and Liana. So I felt like I had a pretty good team, but Tiffany took a dive tonight. But I still have Liana and Danny, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm kind of rooting for Xander. He's not on my
I have Cheyenne and Leanne in my pick, and I had who was that? Who had got voted out last round?
Sydney.
Yeah, I had those three. I had the three girls.
I miss Sydney still. Dustin, she played the knowledge is sour power. Like, I think she could get to the end. I don't know if she's got the spidey sense too. Like, I think if it was Danny, Deshawn, Shan, and Liana, I think I don't. Maybe they'd pull Liana further, but I could see her being a fourth place boot out of those three.
Yeah,
I'm not
she
sure.
would be.
Yep. No, the only I mentioned Deshawn specifically. I don't think Liana is out of it. Actually, I think she has a better chance than some of the people still in the game. But like I said, it's just she burnt that bridge last round with Xander and Tiffany and Evie, and if all three of them end up on the jury and Liana's in the finals, it's it's going to be hard to make up for that betrayal. Because some people can be bitter like that.
That trip to the mountain with Liana and Shan changed her game.
The game. Yep.
Changed her game for sure. I think it changed her game more than it did Shan's. I just think Liana just latched onto that Shan, and that's the only thing she could see. From that point on, she had blinders on. She wasn't seeing anyone else, in my opinion.
Shan is such an older sister for Liana too, in so many ways that it's just such a perfect dynamic. I just don't want Liana to lose her agency that she clearly had at the start of the game, and when she first earned the knowledge is power advantage, I felt like she sort of just was giving it away at that point. And its agency can be re-earned in Survivor quickly, actually, so we can easily see that happen as well. Coming up next week, my friends, the episode 9 breakdown is going to be with Survivor Dearborn. We're bringing on Dom, the host, and Matt, one of their players, to talk about the next episode. And I just got to say, to all you New Yorkers that came on and watched this episode, the Midwest is best. We have the best Survivor games possible from everywhere. Is Reelfoot, is that Midwest, or are you guys considered the South? Where are you?
We'll be the South.
All right. Well, if I include, if we go a little south, then the Midwest is best.
I'll take it.
So if you haven't already subscribed to Surviving Reelfoot in all of its locations, which it's everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, the YouTube episodes from the old school are amazing. Check those out. You can watch the live streams. There's so much. The community is awesome. They get together. They have parties at Pete's pool. I'm so jealous.
I'm mad that I didn't get the chance to go to Pete's house when I was there.
I know. Me too, Tymeka.
I couldn't come out that house. I mean that apartment or whatever. I couldn't come out.
Well, let me give you a little spoiler.
It was so hot.
Kirk, I'll give you a little spoiler because we don't come to my house anymore because we all have a site where we stay on. But just a little trivial thing. We had a little over 66,000 hits last year on our season 9. And this year we plan on opening up more in Twitter and Instagram, and what else are those platforms, Parker? As well
You're
as
asking me.
I was, as well as, of
What
course,
about
we'll be
Twitch?
live on Facebook. But we're going to open up kind of like you all did tonight. You brought your podcast into a different RAM tonight, so we're looking at bringing those into different social medias next year as well to increase that 66,000.
Yep. Jokes aside, we've had a few alumni offer to help us out with that because they're very familiar with how to do that, and we're very appreciative of that. So we're very glad that we can open up those avenues because it's a lot of fun.
Well, everybody's not on Facebook anymore, and there's other avenues to reach. So
Sure,
we plan to
You
we
said,
plan to
you
try to
said everybody's not on
reach
Facebook
out.
no more.
That's right. Just us old people.
That's true. When I found out people were playing like Survivor games on Roblox, I was like, okay, the world is ending now. Like, I can't
Yeah.
believe. Like, when
And
grown adults were
Discord.
like,
I just found out about Discord. I'm like,
Discord.
oh, Discord
Yeah.
game.
I didn't
Totally.
know nothing about it. I didn't know nothing about this.
Same here.
By the way, I
Whole
think
new
Live Reality
dimension.
Games, we have a Discord, everyone. I think. I'm pretty sure we do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I'm
run
pretty
it.
sure y'all do.
I don't do anything on it, but it's there. Okay. Well, this has been a long ass episode. Thanks for tuning in with us and sticking with us. Again, like and subscribe. All of the Surviving Reelfoot content you'll find. It's the best of the best, and it's the most authentic Survivor experience you're going to get in a live reality game anywhere around the world,
Thank you.
in my opinion.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week for the episode 9. Tymeka, Pete, Parker, it's a blast. Thanks for spending the evening with
Thanks for
us.
asking us.
Yes,
For
it was
sure.
a lot of fun.
Let me get my picture. Let me get my picture before y'all go.
Yeah, we got to do a picture first. So, folks, if you're heading out, that's cool. But we're gonna do a little pic first before you go. So,
Thank you.
that's it. We do have a Discord. There we go.
There you go.
Discord.
Are you getting our picture? Girl, that phone.
It
that
made a
phone
lot
is
of
like
flashes.
boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, because
Take
you know
that
what
picture.
happened? I had it on.
Kirk
I had
might
it
have to break
on.
out into a dance.
Right.
It's been a long week. I'm directing a play right now, so I can't wait for Thanksgiving break right now. That's all I'm looking
listen.
forward to, folks.
My house is a wreck. We're redoing our kitchen. Oh my Lord.
Oh, not jealous about that. Okay, this is for the after show. Bye, guys. See you later.
Bye.